Hey, this is Danielle. Welcome to the free video. So, today I'm going to start off by talking about the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ looks pretty destructive here. After the high came in at about 16,700, we basically just, topped out, then started to roll over and die. Well, it seemed as though things were getting a little bit better when we started getting just tiny little rallies, but those rallies could not make it through resistance whatsoever. They ended up running into the 200 simple, which should be a very key area of support, and then they just started rolling over and dying again. So, today we ended up down about 3% in the NASDAQ. Normally, I wouldn't look to short the lows. I mean, I definitely always try to get in my shorts on a rally into resistance. But in this instance, because I do think things are kind of picking up to the downside, you can see especially the way that the indexes just continued to sell off. This is a 5-minute chart, intraday chart, all day long. In those type of market environments, I definitely do like to jump on the trend. So the question is, where is that? Oh, and by the way, I also want to point out, you see that NASDAQ daily squeeze? Yeah, that doesn't look like it's going to fire to the long side. And you also have a NASDAQ weekly squeeze that actually just fired to the short side. So that's not looking good. So that brings me to, okay, what's an area that you can jump on to the short side? First of all, XLC, this has been an area of relative weakness since all the way back in August. This sector topped out in August. That was far before the rest of the market topped out in November, December. So I would absolutely say, number one, this area has relative weakness. Number two, then it would lead me to, okay, so if XLC has relative weakness, what within XLC is potentially shortable? Now, using the Phoenix Finder, you can get a pretty good overall view, and you can see that, okay, Facebook is red, red, red across the board. There was this tiny little blip right there higher when the sector moved higher, but other than that, then it just rolled over and died again. Google definitely had weakness, gained some strength. It tried for a couple days before it rolled back over. Netflix is just totally hosed. Definitely relative weakness here. CHTR, this one's actually been trying lately, along with Disney. I think that one was an earnings move. I know that Disney was an earnings move. And anyway, going on down the list here, I've got ATVI, buyout rumors. Live Nation, this one's been doing great with the reopening. So I look at this and I say, okay, I know XLC is weak. Which one would I want to short? Would I want to short something that, has already been a disaster for several weeks on end? Or do I want to come in and pick the strongest one in the bunch? Definitely not the strongest one in the bunch. You want to pick the weaker link. And on top of that, you also want to try to use earnings as an opportunity where you can say, okay, well, for example, Disney might have rallied for a few days on earnings, but if it can't get through resistance, maybe we can look at that to fade the earnings move. So let's go ahead and look at Facebook. So when you're looking at Facebook in particular, I mean, this has just been a total disaster. This thing is through the 200 simple on the weekly chart. I mean, that is just a heinous, heinous, heinous move, okay? That's like, I would normally try to buy a stock when it's at the 50 simple on a weekly chart. The 200 simple, I mean, no way. This thing is already trading at a lower price than it was trading before the COVID crash, which is just insane to me. And if you go to a daily chart, you can see that, people have just been bailing on it every single day since this earnings report came out. So to some extent, it doesn't even really matter like how bad the earnings report actually was. If everybody's bailing, it's just going to keep going lower. So when I'm looking at Facebook, and actually I was on Trader TV today and Sean asked me to look at this and I said, what could I target? Well, 200 right there. Nice big round number. There's a lot of high open interest. So I did go ahead and throw on a butterfly targeting 200 just to try to get, some more downside in the NASDAQ. Another one that I'm looking at is going to be Disney. Now you might say, well, that's weird. Why would you short Disney? Like Disney just had a, great earnings report and everybody was happy with it and, gapped up 6% and doesn't that go against what you say, which is short the weaker link? Well, I can see what you mean, but not really, because look at this downtrend. This thing topped out all the way back in March. It had a pretty rough year last year. Yes, it did gap up 6% on earnings, but look where it traded to. It traded directly into resistance. Not only price resistance, but your key moving averages. Yeah, it's done a little bit to recover, but it hasn't even been able to break the high that it made on earnings. So, I mean, this is another one where it's like, all right, you can come in and sell some 155 calls. It's not the same thing as Facebook where, it's just rolling over and completely dying, but, still provides some premium selling opportunity. So, anyways, this market's a little bit crazy. Definitely I think that the most important factors here are going to be how it plays out with Microsoft and Google and Amazon in particular, because these stocks have been basically single-handedly holding up the NASDAQ. And my biggest concern right now is that they're really starting to falter. I mean, this Amazon chart, that looks like a pretty clear short to me. So if these things cannot get it together and buyers cannot come in on these big names, I mean, the indexes are going down. So definitely want to look at some, relative weakness, potential shorts to have on. Facebook and Disney are two of the ones I'm looking at. Let me know if you have any other ideas. Tell me what stocks you want to short. I also like Cloudflare to the downside, which I know sounds crazy because I've talked about that stock so many times, but it's definitely a short-term short. Cybersecurity right now is just that's rolling over. That's going to roll over and fall off a cliff. So anyhow, that's about the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you learned anything, and I'll see you in the next one.
Hey traders, it's Danielle here with Simpler Trading. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and comment down below. Also, be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon so you will never miss the latest take from our trading experts. Did you know that we provide real-time trade alerts so that you know exactly what we're doing, exactly when we're doing it? Go to www.simplertrading.com to learn more. Good trading, and we'll see you in the next video.